Welcome, my beautiful friends. I'm Dr. Jeanette Freeman, and over the next 10 days, my goal is to assist you in living from your higher self. And you'll be given a sacred tool, a source code, to help you manifest more clearly from the higher self. The first part of this course is really geared toward helping you experience and access your own beautiful higher self. The last half is geared toward manifesting specific results. Let's begin. So in order for us to have the best possible results, I'm going to ask that you keep an open mind and allow some leeway with regards to specific words and terminologies. My only intention is to heal, awaken, and support my fellow travelers on the journey. And I know I'm speaking to people all over the globe, from numerous spiritual backgrounds or none at all. And I know that words can sometimes separate rather than unite. So I ask, please hear the intention under the words and find your own internal terminology that works for you. In today's lesson, I want to offer you a metaphor, which will be the map of our journey together. It is one of the teachings that my students have found to be the most user-friendly. So I'd like you to imagine you are like a house. You're a 4-story house. And imagine that each floor that you're on gives you a different viewpoint when you look out the window. Imagine what you see out of your window is what is manifesting in your life. Your viewpoint or perception is entirely different at each floor. When you look out of the windows on the first and second floor, you may see problems of all sorts manifesting, causing all kinds of anxiety. When you look out of the windows on the third and fourth floors, you see good things happening and you are pleased. You spend the most time on the floors where you have the most furnishings. Or, I could say it this way, that you have the most dominant programming. So you spend the most time on the floors where you have the most dominant conditioning. I'll say more about that. Stay with me. So every floor is important and is a part of your house. And there's nothing wrong with any of them. The higher floors are more fun to be at. And the more you live upstairs, the more things in your life just seem to work out. So the goal of our course and this teaching and our work together is to help you live upstairs more, to see value in going downstairs in order to move upstairs. Now, of course, I'm talking about levels of consciousness or levels of emotional states. So let's look specifically at the floors. Imagine that your first floor, I'm calling it the security center. And to keep this really very simple right now, imagine that you're on the first floor when your security issues are triggered. You automatically go into an emotional state such as fear, isolation, depression, sadness, grief, hopelessness, anxiety. I sometimes characterize this as the flight state from the fight or flight response. You're rejecting or running from life in some way. When you look out of your window on the first floor, you may see life experiences as scary, uncertain, unloving, or unsupportive. You're most certainly living from your conditioned self. That is the conditioning from your past. So let's move on to the second floor. What is the second floor? The second floor I call the power center. And you're on this floor when your personal power issues are triggered. And you may react with more aggressive emotions such as anger, self-righteousness, indignation, manipulation, control, intimidation, or others. You go to the second floor rather than the first because of how you are conditioned to respond to fear. When you look out of the windows on the second floor, you may see life experiences as bad, wrong, untrustworthy, shameful, ridiculous, or cruel. You are most certainly living from your conditioned self. In other words, when we're triggered, we are triggered from an old conditioning, an old belief system, something from our past. So let's move to the third floor and take a quick peek at what this is. I call it the penthouse. Life is good here on the penthouse. You're basically positive and optimistic, a good problem solver. Your emotions are higher energy, like happiness, peace, enthusiasm. You're grateful, loving, creative. You can trust that you're secure and safe, even if things go bump in the night from time to time. You can trust that you are lovable and deserving. You can choose. You can make conscious new choices. When you look out of your window from the third floor, you may see life experiences that are supportive and loving and safe. Now, things aren't perfect, but there's a sense that everything will work out okay. From the third floor, you are most certainly living in relationship with the higher self. And then the fourth floor. The fourth floor I call the observatory. You're on this floor when you can see clearly what's happening on the other floors. In other words, you're on this floor when you can be and experience life as the observer. You are awake and aware. You are present. You are mindful. You are able to watch yourself and others with a non-judgmental attitude and with love. You can see your own triggers without being completely lost in them. You're able to witness your visits to the lower floors of your house. And this witnessing will help prevent you from staying downstairs long. Every time you can witness yourself going downstairs, you'll be able to clear out some of that old programming. In other words, you'll be able to clean out some of that old furniture down there. On the fourth floor, you are most certainly living from the higher self. So you can see that our goal is to live more frequently from the higher self. And I want to point out here that all the floors of your house are an important part of what is making up you. But if we live completely unconscious to our lower programming and our triggers, we'll get stuck there. And I want to help you move upstairs. So let's imagine a life experience that could happen to anyone, viewed from the different floors of your house to help break down this understanding. So imagine a situation. Let's say there's an unexpected financial crisis, maybe car breaks down or job loss or an unexpected bill. So how do you view it? If this sends you to the first floor, when you're looking out of the window from the first floor, panic, fear, worry sets in. Maybe you run from it, maybe ignoring it. Maybe you continue to focus on that there's never enough. Everything like this always happens to me. Just when I start to get ahead, something else happens. This is the viewpoint from the first floor. It's the flight, running, panic. Now, from the second floor, the immediate reaction is fear, anxiety, anger perhaps. Maybe it's someone else's fault. This shouldn't be happening. That damn ex-husband. This job is the worst. I'm going to get back at them. Life sucks. You get the point. Now, on the third floor, On the third floor, if you live on the third floor most of the time, or whenever you're on the third floor, you might have this initial reaction that, oh, it might be an automated anxiety or fear, but you don't need to stay there long if you have a lot of conditioning and experience up on the third floor. You can talk yourself back up there easily. The viewpoint is, hey, everything's going to work out. I'll find a solution. When one door closes, another opens. My job is a channel of my supply, but it's not the source. I am connected to the source of my supply. I live in an abundant universe. It supports me. So on the third floor, we're able to have the understanding from the higher self that everything's going to be all right. And from the fourth floor, the observatory, you notice what's happening. You may even notice an automatic fear that arises in you. Your nervous system just sent you into this fight or flight mode, but you know to take a few deep breaths. You realize that an earlier survival belief was triggered, and you simply breathe through it. You don't need it to change. You can accept it as it is, and soon you come back to peace. You look out of your window and watch as the perfect solutions unfold in perfect right timing. So, listen, my friends, when we wake up to this huge awareness that it is our own programming that is keeping us stuck on the bottom floors, and we begin to uplevel our beliefs and align with the higher self and begin to live upstairs more often, we will manifest a life of greater joy and happiness. The two higher floors represent a new consciousness, that of the awakening soul. It's important to note that there's nothing wrong with experiencing all of the levels of consciousness. You will, because of your internal programming. You have been more magnetized to certain levels. So the goal of this course is to help you see, S-E-E, see yourself so that you can navigate to the third and fourth floors and set up your primary residence. So today's practice is to just practice seeing. What floor are you on? When you're triggered, do you go to floors 1 or floor 2? Do you go to the flight mode? Do you go to the fight mode? There's no judgment in this because judgment keeps you stuck on the lower floors. Just notice and see. And notice when you're upstairs. Notice how it feels. Notice how it feels to feel good. And notice how it feels to be the observer. Today's practice is to just start noticing without judgment where you are. So, in tomorrow's session, I am going to introduce to you the source code and the inspiration that revealed its power, along with the first source code meditation, which will help you put more furniture or programming up on the third and fourth floor. The more time you spend upstairs, the less time you'll have to go downstairs to clean out the basement. So tomorrow I'm going to see you up in the penthouse. Get on upstairs and I'll see you soon.